Have you ever met anyone who's overqualified? Have you ever met anyone who applied for a job and they didn't get it because they actually had too much on their CV? Well, I just met this guy. I was on the beach and having a walk with my daughter. And this guy is working construction while he holds an MBA in finances. So after 2 or 3 minutes of conversation, I asked him, why are you working on this job if you have an MBA on finances? And his answer was, well, no one's gonna hire me. No one wants to hire me. And I'm like, that doesn't make any sense. So here are a few things that I would do. I started this channel because a while ago when I was young, I didn't have many mentors, and I thought not having a mentor is actually detrimental to your growth, to your development, and I wanted to help more people. So I created this thinking, what would I do if I could counsel or if I could offer any wisdom to anyone on the other side of the screen? So this guy holds an MBA in finances, but he is holding a labor job being paid by the hour. So here's the first thing you do. Never rely on other people hiring you. That's the thing. I was, again, another story. I was having a conversation with one of my friends, and I needed him to do something like at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and he said, I can't because I will be working. And then we started this conversation about the position that the boss holds. The boss is actually the owner. And if anyone else in your life determines what time you have a break, what time you go on holiday, what time you work and what time you don't, that means they own you, and you're just exchanging your time, your most valuable assets, for money. That's too cheap. I would never trade time for money. That's how the really successful people in our time, and I'm not only talking about money, they learned how to leverage the time. Unfortunately, most people do it in a way that in order for me to get a lot of time, I have to steal or pay for someone else's time. That's the deal. Nevertheless, back to this guy. Here are at least 2 or 3 things that you can do if you can't find a job in your area. Now, granted, the very few areas are positions held as a job. Like a neurosurgeon will be a job that you hold in a hospital. I don't know any independent neurosurgeon running his own, his own theater for operation. He's operating in a hospital, but that's an exception. The vast majority, and I would assume 70% and going up to 80 or 85% of all professions, they are either becoming extinct or you can do it yourself independently. You don't have to be an employee. To be honest, any company hiring anyone as an employee, they are losing money unless they're really big and they have some tax schemes. Because if you hire me as an employee, for example, you have to pay tax, you have to pay superannuation. And in my position, knowing that the superannuation scheme is the biggest scam of all time, when I retire, I won't have the money to be able to withdraw it. So I would rather just invoice the business that I'm working for and then get the money and figure out my way to create my retirement. For example, we managed to buy a few properties and we live off that. That's our safety net. That's our retirement. That is our passive income. And I say quote unquote passive because nothing is really passive. But anyway, first thing you can do, never rely on anyone to give you a job. You create the job for 70 or 80% of the professions and going up. So what he could do, for example, is offer financial services to banks, institutions, businesses, and other people. Whatever the financial services is, sometimes you have to take a notch down of your qualification. The guy's got an MBA. He could do something simple like helping people with budgets and all of that. So that's one. You can work for other people as a contractor. Good side note: the book Rich Dad Poor Dad that teaches you about being an employee, being a self-employed, being a businessman, and being an investor. At the end of the day, most people would want to go to the place of an investor, but not everyone's ready to do that. So that's number one. You can work as a contractor to any business. Number two, you can set your own business. Now, for some of these careers, you can literally set your own business. Let me give you the example of an accountant. An accountant can set up his own office, working for other people, invoicing them instead of being an employee, and still have or hold his own business. So you can set up your own business. There's risks with that, but I would highly encourage people to set their own businesses, especially if we're talking about information and knowledge. So number two, you can set your own business. Obviously, there are pros and cons. There is costs involved, but in the era that we're living in, anyone can start a business when it comes to information. We call that edutainment. Yes, you can create content on YouTube and social media with something that educates people. At the end of the day, people want to be educated. They go on YouTube. I think YouTube is one of the rare social media platforms where people are not just playing around and just wasting time. They're actually searching for something. And as a matter of fact, if you want to start there, maybe you have a job and you're kind of, I don't know, you're tired of your job or you're not happy, you're unsatisfied. I help people start their business online with one premise. I want to make sure that you start something that you enjoy, because my ultimate goal is to help people find purpose in life. I think if you find purpose, you will find life, and that's the first step into starting something that you enjoy. So if you want to do that, you can click the link below. It'll take you to a page, and I'm holding a free live workshop really soon, where you can learn all these techniques to find your purpose. And if you're really interested, after workshop, I'm gonna offer people the chance to work with me for 30 days. It's only 10 seats. And in 30 days, we will go from zero to hero. We'll set your business up and you will start something for yourself so you can quit the 9 to 5 grind and you can become your own boss. All right. So again, back to the tips. You can invoice people working as a contractor. You can start your own business, or you can find other things to do. Like if you've done an MBA in finances, I'm sure, like what's the MBA stands for? Master Business Administration. I'm sure you have learned other principles, and you will be surprised if you work on your purpose with the formulas that I have. You will find that you don't have to be closed in, you don't have to be stuck with one area. No, you don't have to do finances only. You can do something else, and it's actually pretty nice. Like I have a background in marketing. I ended up being a communicator. I do public speaking. I help with the church where I am. I help start new churches actually all over the world. That's my purpose. So it's a beautiful thing you can do. So my 3 tips for today, what would Pedro do in that situation, in that guy? Like if I was working in a job, knowing that I have a high qualification, I would, number 1, try to be a contractor, not an employee. So I don't have to answer, whenever I take a break or whenever I go on holidays. Number 2, I could work as a contractor. And number 2, I'll start a business. Or number 3, I'll do something else. I would do something that could use my skills, but then in another area. And if you want to learn more, like I said, there's a link down below. You can call me or you can register for the live workshop. It's free. We're going to spend a couple of hours there. I'm going to help you find your purpose. And if you do, and you want to work with me for 30 days, I've got 10 seats, and we can do this. First is a 5-day intensive, and then we have the rest of the month just to put into practice, and we will set you up from zero to hero, starting your business, and hopefully dropping the 9 to 5 grind and becoming your own boss. All right. I hope you've enjoyed it. This is me on the beach, 4 o'clock in the afternoon, living the dream, loving my life, and I would love for you to do the same. Bless.